All right. Round of 16, my friend. This is where the action actually begins. This is
This is
where
where
it
it gets real
matters.
fun, right? You get to
This is
see
where it
those
gets
exciting
real fun.
matchups.
We had the draw. We know when the first and second legs are. We're going to dive right into it. We're going to kick it off with my team of the group stage, Copenhagen, against the juggernaut themselves, Manchester City.
I feel so bad for the Man City of all teams.
I feel so bad for them too, because it's like you did so well, and then you get paired up against the one team that you probably stand zero chance against.
Them and Real Madrid are like the only ones I was like, don't play one of those two.
Yeah. Like, even if they played Arsenal, I would have given them a chance.
If they would have played Barcelona, would have given them a chance.
More than a chance, probably. First leg of this one is on the 13th of February. Second leg, the 6th of March in Manchester. First leg in Copenhagen. Do I have to ask who you're going to pick for this one?
I'm going with Man City.
Bad. Yeah.
Copenhagen. I want them to do well, but it's Man City, man. It's Man City.
I'm having to lean the same way, especially with Mr. Kevin De Bruyne back and better than I've seen him in years.
Long hair. Oh man, long hair don't
matter. Next thing you're going to see is by the time this comes around, he's wearing that Jack Grealish headband on top of his hair.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. You can only have one of them on the field at a time, which is probably the good thing. But unfortunately for everybody else, it's Kevin De Bruyne, not Jack Grealish.
For every other team in Europe, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan. You're an Arsenal fan. I'm shaking in my boots seeing it. It's tough. All right. Next up, this one is a juicy affair.
This one could be interesting. You're not wrong.
RB Leipzig against Real Madrid. Same thing. First game in Leipzig on the 13th of February. Second game in Madrid, which probably will be the decider on the 6th of March. Leipzig surprising some teams. They gave Manchester City a run for their money. They probably used that blueprint against Real Madrid.
Probably. I mean, for as good as Leipzig are, they have a lot of good young players. Luis Openda up top is a fantastic striker. Xavi Simons.
I mean, they got Benjamin Sesko up front as well.
Yeah.
So they got options up front that can hurt Real Madrid. Real Madrid's defense has been suspect, but can they slow down that attack of the Madridistas?
I don't think they can, man. Real Madrid to get out of
I
that.
think RB Leipzig makes it interesting in the first leg, maybe gets a draw out of it or keeps it close. And then in Madrid, yeah, I think Madrid run away with it. Just because they're the team of the Champions League.
Real Madrid and Champions League are just synonymous with one another, man.
Pretty much. And, you know, once they start get rolling in the Champions League, they'll start getting rolling in the league. And I feel bad for Girona, who's been in first place for so long. Real Madrid are starting to catch up to them. They're getting to that point of the season, just like Manchester City. Maybe that's for another episode, but
we'll have to do the Liga little review here. Look at some point. Highlight some of the teams, yeah.
All right, buddy. We got one of your disappointing teams of the tournament.
Speaking of La Liga.
Speaking of La Liga, your team of the group stage. We got PSG against Real Sociedad. First game in Paris on Valentine's Day. And then we got the second leg in Sociedad on the 5th of March. PSG looking a little ripe for picking. Sociedad, I mean, okay, La Liga's one thing. This is the Champions League, right?
This is the Champions League.
Defense, playing one of the most exciting, exciting attacking teams in the Champions League, but they've been all but it this season.
PSG, I mean, if it wasn't for Mbappe, this was an average team, man. Yeah. Goncalo Ramos really hasn't hit the ground running. I mean, Kolo Muani hasn't hit the ground running in the Champions League. They have a fantastic 17-year-old midfielder in Zaire Emery.
Yeah. I think he's hurt. He's out for the next couple months. So I don't think they have him for this leg. First leg at least.
Well, there you go.
Return leg in Sociedad. They got to be feeling real good about that if they can hold the score to a reasonable number or get a win in Paris. I think they can pull something out, man. I'm going to go with Sociedad.
I am also going with Sociedad.
You frustrate Mbappe, he turns into a giant baby. Send him home with his plans and cash and a binky.
I'm going Sociedad, man. Takefusa Kubo, man. He's going to come up big. That midfield of Sociedad with Zubamendi and Mendes.
Yeah, I want to say that Real Madrid, are missing some of the players they've sold in recent years, but I can't with the likes of Bellingham, Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouaméni coming into that midfield. But Takefusa Kubo and Martin Odegaard are on fire. I don't know if they get into that team. Well, Kubo might as a sub. But I don't even know if Martin Odegaard gets into that team the way that their midfield has been playing.
Midfield is, man. I mean, the way Modric, Cruz, Camavinga.
They're the most stacked midfield in the world. So
probably.
Yeah. I mean, their backups of their backups could start for pretty much any team in Europe.
Even Dani Ceballos for Real Madrid, man, isn't looking terrible. But Brahim Diaz also in there.
Yeah. I mean, they lost Isco. He's looking pretty good for Betis as well. So Asensio for PSG. He's been the only player that actually looks worth something for PSG. So we'll see. Next up, Lazio. Team I didn't choose to even pick to even get through into the knockout round. They got unlucky as they played Bayern Munich, the juggernaut themselves, and a on-fire Harry Kane. Luckily for Lazio, Bayern Munich has not been great as for form lately.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that, man. They've only lost twice in the Bundesliga, and they got 2 draws. They just happen to be going up against a Leverkusen in the Bundesliga that hasn't lost any.
Yeah, their defense has been very suspect for a while.
Their defense has been, suspect.
So that is what Lazio have to look forward to. Still got to stop Harry Kane, though.
That's why Bayern Munich went and bought Eric Dyer to shore up that defense. Sarcasm.
Go back to that previous episode, like we said earlier, to check out what we thought of that signing.
Yes. He plays.
You're watching us on YouTube. You're watching us on YouTube. You probably tell by my expression what I think of that signing.
Weird one at that, yeah. But it happened. But they got the other Englishman up front, Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Leroy Sané is looking good. Kingsley Coman did come off recently with an injury.
Still got Serge Gnabry. So I think they'll be okay.
I'm worried about their midfield, man, with Goretzka, Kimmich. It's the one thing.
Very defensive. They need a creative player in there. Konrad Leimer hasn't been
playing right
as good of a player as I thought.
He's been playing right
back. Yeah.
But I mean, he's still got Musiala. They've been playing Pavlovic in that midfield, but yeah. A lot of midfielders, unless you put in Thomas Muller.
You know how highly I rate him, except for the fact that, when it comes to playing a bunch of games in a week, he's too old for that now. So maybe this is where he shines.
But who do you got in this one? Bayern Munich or Lazio?
Bayern Munich, man.
Yeah.
I picked him to be in the final. Harry Kane, man. I picked him for the Ballon d'Or as well. I think this is where Bayern Munich start to turn their season around and take off. If not in the Bundesliga, they're going to do it in the Champions League.
Well, they're only in the Bundesliga. They're only 2 points behind Bayer Leverkusen. But yeah, I mean, one way only. Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if this was very one-sided. Okay. Now to a team that's running away with the Eredivisie against a team that surprises both. They finished top of their group. We got PSV against Borussia Dortmund. First match is in Eindhoven. Second match in Dortmund, which probably gives the advantage to that yellow wall. First match is the 20th of February. Second, 13th of March. Who you got?
This one's an interesting one, if I'm being honest with you. I think I could go either way. PSV could surprise Dortmund. Remember I said earlier, experience means something. Dortmund have been here many times. And so I'm going to go with Borussia Dortmund.
I'm going to quote you on that in a little bit. Experience matters.
Okay.
Not for this, but for the next one. Not the next one, the one after. Anyways, we'll get to that. Yeah. For me, it's both these teams have been playing very well this season. Dortmund surprised a lot of people in the group of death, finishing first. I think it's all going to come down to the first leg and how that actually plays out.
I think it's going to depend on PSV in this first leg. Because
that's what I'm saying.
The first game in the Champions League, you saw PSV, they got demolished by Arsenal. So if they come out like that again, yes, they'll get demolished by Dortmund. Especially with a Jadon Sancho who's actually producing something.
Yeah. And again, check out our previous episode on our, all our social media,
on our YouTube
podcast platforms. But our YouTube, make sure you're liking, subscribing.
Hit that notification bell. I'll just let you finish since we're just doing it.
Yeah, anyways.
It's an echo.
Anyways, it is. I'm going to just leave it there, and I'm going to go with PSV.
Okay, PSV.
Yeah, I'm just going to be different. I had to be different on some things here. Can't just be the same all the time. I just think PSV will surprise some people. I mean, Benfica did that last season. Although PSV is not Benfica last season, I think they'll get a surprise here and beat Dortmund.
I think Real Sociedad will be the Benfica of last season.
I think you're on to something. I really do. All right, next up, we got two juggernauts going head-to-head in probably one of the most exciting games of the knockout round. We have Inter against Atletico Madrid. Again, same thing. These games are on the 20th of February and the 13th of March, but the first leg is played at the San Siro and then going back to Madrid for the second leg.
So that could be interesting. I think, obviously, with the setup, the advantage goes to Atletico. But watching Inter Milan in the Champions League, I'm loving this Marcus Thuram signing. Lautaro Martinez is firing.
On fire. He's on fire. And he's got a knack of scoring really late goals this season. That mean a lot.
On the flip side, Atletico, Alvaro Morata hasn't been terrible. I mean, Antoine Griezmann on fire. Yes.
Continuing where he left off last season.
That's right.
Guy doesn't age, apparently, when he's in Madrid, not Barcelona.
So this one's a tough one, but I'm going to go Inter Milan.
Okay.
The finalists from last year. Like I said, I think those players could push them over the edge. You know how these Italian teams love to defend. On the flip side, yes, a Diego Simeone team also loves to defend. But I think Italians just defend that a little bit better. A little bit better.
I think, I guess we can say experience matters, but Inter Milan went to the final last year, so I can't say that in this one. However, I'm going to go with two words, and they are elite. That is not the word I'm using, or words, but they are elite. And it's Diego Simeone. He's going to make the difference in this tie. He's going to make sure that Atleti, if they score, they will not be scored upon. And if they need to score goals, we all know that they can, which is the difference between last season and this season, where it's not just Griezmann scoring. Morata is scoring at a crazy prolific rate. I don't understand it. I forget the name of him, but they have this really exciting left winger.
Ligne,
thank you.
I think it's Manuel Ligne or something like that.
Yeah, he's very exciting to watch.
Yeah.
I think with the home leg being in Madrid, I got to give it to Atletico.
Personally, I think how this leg is going to go, they're going to go to Italy, defend, and then try to nip something in at Madrid.
I'm gonna predict a draw in the first leg, and then Atleti nips it in Madrid.
1-0.
But yeah, 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. I still expect it to be exciting at some point in these two legs. I just don't think it's the first leg.
Okay. Well, let's go on to the next one that I know we both are going to pick the same team. It is Porto versus Arsenal. First game for this one is the 21st of February, and then that is in Portugal. And the second leg is on the 3rd of March in London. Arsenal?
12th of March. Yes.
12th of March, sorry. Arsenal?
Yeah. However, this was very difficult for me to pick Arsenal.
You know who knocked them out last season in the Europa League is another Portuguese team, Sporting.
Yes. The problem for me here for Arsenal is, I'm going to quote you again, right? Experience matters. This Arsenal squad has next to no Champions League experience in the entire squad.
Jesus Zinchenko.
Thomas
Partey.
Yeah. But how long ago was that for Thomas Partey? A couple years?
A few years.
This Porto squad seems to be in the knockout round every single year. They're doing, I think they're in second or first in the Portuguese Liga.
Keep talking. Let me look.
But the reason why it was difficult for me to pick Arsenal in this one is because the first leg is in Porto. Arsenal's away form right now is absolutely atrocious. They are not good away.
You're playing catch up, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the good news
but
is
their home form, it's their home form. And that is why I picked Arsenal. It's because Porto seemingly doesn't travel very well either. But Arsenal's home form, the Emirates has turned into a fortress for them. They've lost one game at home or two games at home in the last year and a half. So I got to go with the Gunners in this one. Also, it's my heart, not my brain. So,
well, the good news is Porto are actually in third in Liga Portugal.
There you go. I know they were behind Sporting last time I looked. So
they're 5 points off of first place Sporting, 4 points behind Benfica, who are in second.
There you go. Which is also why they're one of the most disappointing teams in the group stage. Anyways, to the last match, we got another two juggernauts. We got Napoli, who are not doing very hot in Serie A, against Barcelona, who equally have not been great of late. Xavi stepping down at the end of the season, defensive problems everywhere. They've already let in more goals than they did the entirety of last season in all competitions. I don't know which way that this one is, like, literally for me, flip a coin.
Yeah, this one was tough for me as well. I'm going to go with a team I think has better players individually, and that is Barcelona.
Yeah, again, for me, like we have discussed prior, it's about who starts in midfield for Barcelona. You never know who it's going to be. One person comes back from injury, one person gets injured, and just keeps repeating that cycle. Napoli, yes, they've missed Cavaradonna for the majority of the season. He's come back. He's doing okay. He's not at the heights he was last season. Victor Osimhen, same thing. Should have him back from the African Cup of Nations by the time this starts. So they'll at least have that going for them. He's came out also recently and said that he's leaving in the summer. So excited to talk about that at a future date. Who you got in this one?
Barcelona. I said they had the better players individually.
Had to cement that in there.
Yeah,
because I'm going to go with Napoli. Flip a coin. You pick one, I'll pick the other.
Okay.
I have no idea who's going to win this. I'm picking Napoli because I would rather see them in the next round. I don't mean to compile more misery onto Xavi, but I would rather see Napoli.
I think they're doing that bad, Barcelona. I mean, yes, they're not performing quite as well as they did last season. But I mean, if you look at La Liga, they're still in 4th place, tied on points with Atletico. They've only lost 3 games in La Liga. They've drawn quite a few. They've drawn 5. But again, it is the way they play. I mean, compared to last season, that defense is much more leaky.
Mm-hmm.
But I still pick Barcelona.
Fair enough.
So which match are you looking the most forward to?
Get out of my head. I got 2. I know you're probably going to pick the ones that I was probably going to pick. So I'm going to go with Inter and Atleti. I'm very much looking forward to that one. That's going to be like a supreme chess match.
It's going to be
low key,
tough to watch, but interesting. It's going to be very much a tactical battle.
Low key, as we said earlier, I'm going to go with PSV and Dortmund, man.
Yeah,
this is going to be exciting to watch.
That could be a good one.
How about you?
So again, Sociedad PSG, man. I'm flying high on Sociedad. I picked them to make it out of there, to knock PSG out. I picked them to get out of the group stage. Riding high on those coattails, so I'm going to pick that match. And honestly, that Napoli-Barcelona game, that could go either way. That we think could go either way.
Who is gonna show up for each team?
Yes. Could we see João Felix do something? Lewandowski finally start to score some goals? Or is Victor Osimhen and Cavadona gonna step up?
Exactly.
It should be.
But you guys let us know. You guys let us know. What is your most exciting? What game are you most excited for? What picks do you have for the knockout rounds? Let us know on our YouTube channel. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, hit the notification bell. Our Instagram, Brews FC. Go check it out. Let us know there. Our new TikTok, Brews Banter FC. Make sure you check out our Facebook and our Facebook page. Let us know. That is our Champions League recap. For now, we'll see you on the other side during the knockout stages.
Today's episode is brought to you by Acorn Hills Clothing Company. Sustainable clothing, biodegradable packaging, tree planted for every purchase, and a percentage of their sales donated to charities.
Yeah, and that's not even the best part. They give you these plantable clothing tags with every purchase. Pretty much greatest idea ever.
That is
scan
awesome.
The QR code right here for planting instructions. So make sure you go to www.acornhillsco.com and use Brews15. That is BREWS15 at checkout. 15% off and have your tree planted today.
Yes, don't forget to use our code Brews15 at checkout for 15% off. This is one you don't want to miss, guys.
We'll see if your predictions say otherwise.